Today, we're diving into a fascinating development in the political landscape. President-elect Donald Trump has announced his intention to nominate Pete Hegseth, a Fox News host and Army veteran, as Secretary of Defense. Now, this is a significant move, considering Hegseth's unique background as both a media personality and a military veteran. It's not every day you see someone transition from the television screen to such a pivotal role in the government.
Wow, that's quite a leap. I mean, going from hosting Fox and Friends to potentially leading the Department of Defense. What do you think makes Hegseth a compelling choice for this position?
Great question. Hegseth has been a prominent voice on military issues through his work at Fox News. He's known for his strong advocacy for veterans and his America First stance, which aligns closely with Trump's policies. His military experience, including tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, adds a layer of credibility. But it's his media presence that really sets him apart. Has been able to communicate complex military issues to the public in a way that resonates.
I see. So he's kind of like a bridge between the military world and the general public. But isn't there some controversy around his nomination, especially given his lack of senior military experience?
Absolutely, and that's where things get interesting. Critics argue that Hegseth lacks the senior national security experience typically expected for a Secretary of Defense. However, Trump seems to value loyalty and the ability to communicate his vision over traditional credentials. It's a bit like hiring a coach who understands the game but hasn't necessarily played at the highest level. The question is whether his media skills and military background can compensate for that gap.
Right. It's like choosing a coach who can rally the team with speeches rather than just strategy. But how does Hegseth's anti-woke stance play into this nomination? I know that's been a hot topic lately.
Hegseth's anti-woke perspective is indeed a significant factor. His book, The War on Warriors, criticizes what he sees as the military's shift towards social justice initiatives, which he argues undermines traditional military values. This aligns with Trump's promises to remove such influences from the armed forces. It's a bold stance that appeals to a certain segment of the population who feel the military should focus solely on defense and combat readiness.
That's really intriguing. It's almost like his positioning himself as a defender of traditional military values against modern changes. But do you think this approach could impact defense policies if he's confirmed?
It certainly could. If Hegseth is confirmed, we might see a shift in defense policies towards a more traditional focus, emphasizing meritocracy and combat effectiveness over social initiatives. However, this could also lead to significant pushback from those who believe in a more inclusive military. It's a balancing act, and Hegseth's ability to navigate these waters will be crucial.
It's like walking a tightrope, isn't it? Balancing tradition with modernity. I'm curious to see how this all unfolds. Thanks for breaking it down.
Let's dive deeper into Pete Hegseth's background and career, which are quite remarkable. Hegseth's military service is a significant part of his identity. He served as an infantry captain in the Army National Guard with tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Guantanamo Bay. During his service, he was awarded 2 Bronze Stars and a Combat Infantryman's Badge, which are no small feats.
Wow, that's impressive. Those awards really speak to his experience on the ground. But how did he make the leap from the battlefield to the media world?
That's an interesting transition indeed. Hegseth joined Fox News as a contributor in 2014. His ability to articulate military issues and connect with the audience quickly made him a standout figure. By 2017, he was co-hosting Fox and Friends Weekend, where he became a familiar face to many viewers. His media career allowed him to continue advocating for veterans and military issues, albeit from a different platform.
It's fascinating how he shifted from serving in the military to serving as a voice for military issues on TV. But what about his work as an author? I've heard his books have stirred quite a conversation.
Yes, his role as an author is another key aspect of his career. Hegseth has written several books, with The War on Warriors being particularly notable. In it, he critiques what he perceives as the left-wing betrayal of military values, advocating for a return to meritocracy and excellence. His writings echo his anti-woke stance and have resonated with many who share his views. Through his books, he continues to champion the causes of military veterans, pushing for reforms and recognition.
It's like he's using every platform available to him to push for change, from the battlefield to the newsroom, and now through his books. Do you think his advocacy has made a tangible impact on veteran issues?
Absolutely. His advocacy has certainly brought attention to veteran issues. By leveraging his media presence and authorship, Hegseth has been able to highlight challenges faced by veterans, such as mental health and reintegration into civilian life. His efforts have sparked conversations and, in some cases, influenced policy discussions. It's a testament to how diverse experiences can be harnessed to drive change.
It's inspiring to see someone use their platform for advocacy. It makes me wonder about the broader implications of having someone like Hegseth in a position of power. Could his background influence how the military addresses these issues?
That's a possibility. If confirmed, Hegseth's firsthand experience and media savvy could bring a fresh perspective to the Department of Defense. His focus on meritocracy and accountability might shape policies in ways that prioritize combat readiness and veteran support. However, balancing these priorities with broader defense strategies will be crucial. Now, let's explore the reactions and controversies surrounding Pete Hegseth's nomination. As expected, the announcement has sparked a wide range of responses. Supporters, including President Trump, have praised Hegseth as a warrior for the troops. They see him as a staunch advocate for military personnel, someone who embodies the America First philosophy and who will prioritize the needs of the armed forces.
It's interesting how he's being celebrated as a champion for the troops, but I imagine not everyone is on board with this nomination. What are some of the criticisms he's facing?
You're right. There are significant criticisms, particularly regarding his qualifications. Critics, including figures like Elizabeth Warren, have questioned his lack of senior military or national security experience. They argue that leading the Department of Defense requires more than just a media presence and military service. It demands extensive experience in high-level strategic decision-making.
That makes sense. It's like hiring a coach who's great at motivating players but hasn't managed a team at the highest level. What about the Senate confirmation process? Are there any hurdles he might face there?
Indeed, the confirmation process could pose challenges. One major hurdle is the need for a congressional waiver. According to the rules, a nominee for Secretary of Defense must have been out of uniform for at least 7 years. Hegseth's recent military service means he'll need this waiver to be confirmed. This requirement adds another layer of complexity to an already contentious nomination.
Wow, so he's not only facing skepticism about his qualifications, but also procedural challenges. Do you think his media influence could help him navigate these obstacles?
It's possible. Hegseth's media influence could play a dual role. On one hand, it might help him garner public support and sway opinion in his favor. On the other hand, it could also amplify the scrutiny he faces. The key will be how he leverages his communication skills to address concerns and build confidence among lawmakers.
It's like he's in the spotlight and every move is being watched closely. It'll be fascinating to see how this unfolds. Thanks for shedding light on the complexities of his nomination.